Fake Rolexes have been around forever, but never have they been as good as they are in 2025. It is unreal how close some of these things have got. Now, I've got here a real watch and a fake watch. We've got the real McCoy, and we've got what some would refer to as a Superclone, what I would call a top tier. Now, there are levels to this. Here in China, I see so many different versions of the same watch being produced. You've got the low end, you've got mid tier, and then you've got top tier. And there's two factories that are competing at the top end for this particular watch. This fake here is from VS factory here in Guangzhou, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is yet. We're going to get into the details. I've got the macro lens, brand new lens, just arrived today. I'm quite excited to use it. We're going to zoom in, we're going to look at the little details. I'm going to hopefully guide you in discerning between the real and the fake product. If you are in the market to pick up a watch, especially a second-hand watch, and you're not 100% sure, have a close look at this video. Now, before we do that, I must share that I am not a watchmaker. I'm not a dealer of watches. I'm not an expert. I don't own multiple Rolexes, nor do I own multiple watches, to be honest, but I do have a fascination with real versus fake. My name's Snide. On this channel, I do deep dives, usually into sneakers, but I'm starting to broaden out and explore other things. I've got some exciting ones coming up on the channel, but let's get into this watch today. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at is the Cyclops. That is this little guy here. If you're not familiar with a Cyclops, it's the little dome on the top of your watch that provides magnification for the date. So a real one magnifies 2.5 times. The number stays sharp and clear. The glass is also clear, and the date, and this is crucial, sits centered right in the middle of that Cyclops view. Now, looking at the real one, you can see that is bang on in the middle and everything else that I just described. On the replica, as we look at it, I would argue that is slightly off center, ever so slightly. But I am nitpicking, to be honest. At first glance, that is pretty much the same. And I'm going to be repeating that sentiment throughout this video. I have the benefit of having the real one right next to the fake one. You don't have that luxury. Take that in mind when you are assessing these things, because my goodness are they close. The next thing we're going to be looking at, and actually it's very hard to get, hopefully my macro lens can pick it up, is the laser etched crown down at the 6 o'clock. I'm holding it up like it's going to show. You can't really see it to the naked eye. It is invisible. You've got to really get it just at the right angle in the light, which I am aiming to do with the macro, but that has been lasered into the crystal. And looking at the real one, you can see it's made of tiny little dots at different depths. They're not all exactly the same. And what I will say on many fakes, it's either too bold or too obvious. Take a look at the placement of this crown as well. On the genuine one, it's sitting a little bit higher. On the fake one, it is closer to the Rehaut of the watch, but it is there and it is very good quality. Moving on now to the aforementioned Rehaut. Again, not an expert, pretty sure that's how you say that word. Rehaut, is the T silent? I don't know. Feel free to correct me in the comments, or don't worry about it. It's just a watch, chill out. So down here on the Rehaut, it's the inner ring of your Rolex. You can see here that you've got Rolex repeated over and over and over again with a little crown symbol up at the 12 o'clock spot. And down at the bottom at the 6 o'clock should be your serial number. I won't share that because whoever's watching this, they may well just go and copy that serial number. It's probably out there anyway, but I will avoid showing that. Now, what we're looking for here as we look at this Rehaut is clean engraving, sharp edges to the text, even spacing. I think some respect is due just the sheer skill of being able to replicate it to this standard is remarkable. But anyway, let's have a look at some additional details on the Rehaut. So here I'm looking at the alignment. So on the right side, I'm looking at the X. Now the X on Rolex should be in alignment with the hour markers, and it is perfectly on the real one. Of course, on the fake, when I'm looking at those letters, they've managed to do that as well. They have actually nailed that. The alignment is spot on here with the hour markers. The macro might show a different story, but as I'm looking at it right now, pretty damn good. On the left side, the R should line up with the hour markers. And on the replica, they have managed to do that as well. Everything is lined up nicely, and the crown is looking pretty good as well. If the spacing does drift, if you're looking at a watch and the spacing is slightly off, you're looking at a fake. Rolex is meticulous about things like that. Perhaps the most obvious thing that you would look for on a Rolex as you're examining it for the first time is the quality of the text on the front, on the face of your watch. So let's have a close look there. Let's go into the macro. This is where the differences can sometimes show up. Again today, these differences may be very minimal, perhaps even negligible, because we're dealing with a top tier replica. But we're looking at the dial text. The printing should be crisp and clear. The edges should be clean again. And we're looking at the font. Perhaps slightly soft on the replica. But again, they've got that so damn close. Really hard to tell without zooming right in. I would say the replica is perhaps slightly bolder. The font is almost in a bold look. But beyond that, everything checks out. Another thing, and the most obvious and easiest way to tell, is checking out the movement. Now, I'm not going to be opening up either of these watches on today's video, but what I can already feel just now as I'm thinking about it, I can feel the movement and hear it on the replica. Certainly cannot on the real one. I would be very concerned if I shook the real one and there was any mechanical sound. Nothing. On the fake though, let's see if the mic can pick it up. Not sure if the mic grabbed that, but I can hear it. That is bonkers. Yeah, there's a very, very quick, easy tell, a little shake test. And this is a top tier, so I imagine a mid tier to a low tier, you would feel and hear that even more. But I can hear that spinning. You don't want that on a real one. Now the last point, let's give this a little twist-a-rooney. That was the real one, and the fake one. Don't know how much that does for you, but there definitely was a difference, as well as some difference in the resistance between the two. Now, they are both brand new, so I think that may change over time on the replica. But right now it is very audible and a very loud click as it moves around. There are a couple of other things you can look for, but again, it's really helpful to have the real one next to the fake one. But you can look at the general shape of the case. You can look at the lugs. You can see how sharply they taper off, how thick they are, as well as looking at the crown, and you can see that there is a very slight difference between the real and the fake one on that crown, where the real one has, I would say, perhaps a softer finish to it than the fake, where the fake looks a little bit too well defined. You'd think it would be the other way around, but there you are. Well, there you go. There's a lot of other things you could look for apart from those. I just chose to zoom in on a few key points. There's people out there with much more expertise, but there's also people out there with a lot more of a snobbier approach to such things, because my personal take is this: do whatever you want with your money. Don't worry about it. Obviously, I'm not here to promote the buying or selling of anything, quite frankly. I don't care if you get the real one or the fake one. What's it matter to me? It makes no impact on me. They will never be exactly the same. And if they do ever reach that level of perfection, then it begs the question, is it really worth buying the real one? Maybe they've been defeated. But I would say that the replicas, and this is tinfoil hat territory potentially, I would say the replica factories never actually want to get to one-to-one status. I don't think they want to perfect it to the level where it's hard to discern. And the experts who even open them up and check the inner components can't tell, because that is when the market would start to collapse. The replicas need the perfection of the Rolex brand and for it to hold that high status symbol in order to even warrant the necessity of a replica item. If it gets too close and people can't tell, then it kind of begs the question of what's the point of getting the real one if the fake one is just exactly the same but from another country. At that point, that's when it would collapse. So that's my personal take. I think that these things are both beautiful in their own right, both absolutely wonderful watches. It just is a matter of what are you buying into and why. There's arguments to be had that the replica here obviously has no resale value. You can't sell it on and change it for another one, but then you've only spent a few $100s, so you wouldn't need to do that. The real one, yes, it holds its value. It might go up, it might decrease slightly, but you can still definitely sell it on. But then it begs the question, if you need to sell off your watch, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place, right? Basically, it comes down to that. Spend within your means. Don't spend beyond your means. But again, and I will say it again, I've said it on many videos, I don't care. I'm not promoting the buying or selling of anything, real or fake. Don't care. It has no impact on me. Do what you want with your money, your wrist, your watch. Enjoy yourselves. Keep it snidey. Catch you on the next video.